Man is on a quest to play God, to control the weather and use it as a weapon. Lightning, torrential rains, hurricanes, targeted at the enemy.
The ultimate war is if you never have to fire a round and nobody ever knew you launched the fight.
Is it possible there have already been attacks using weather weapons?
Some people believe that Katrina was weather warfare at its most potent.
But how do we get from understanding extreme weather to making it do our bidding?
Earthquakes, tidal waves, those become the future of warfare.
This series investigates how the impossible is becoming possible and what it might mean in the future.
If an enemy could change the jet stream over North America, it could plunge North America into an ice age.
Seeding is booming. They anticipate at least another 200 ground cloud seeding machines to be put in before next season.
Ginger, this is such a cool concept, but is it too good to be true? I mean, how do we know that the chemicals that they're spraying from the air aren't bad for us or the planet?
The good news is we've been doing this since the 1940s and 50s. Other countries do it, and there have been a lot of research projects that have shown that the silver iodide, for example, is not found. It's negligible once it gets down to ground level.
So, again, I don't want to be too skeptical, but is there anything wrong with manipulating nature like this?
I think that's the question we should have asked when we built every single parking lot and every rooftop. We have been manipulating weather with us for a very long time. I do think that looking at and continuing research on when these programs get bigger, if it will affect people downstream, that needs to be watched.
At least we're manipulating it now to help the planet. So
I'm not saying that the government created Hurricane Helene. What I am saying is that the government has been manipulating the weather since 1947. What first caught my attention with Helene was the shift in the storm's projected path. One day it looked like it would hit my town. The next day it had shifted east. I then noticed an odd flight path of NOAA 42, the aircraft being flown, a Lockheed Martin Orion P-3. This prompted me to look at previous uses for the P-3, where I discovered that they were used in the 1960s to manipulate Hurricane Camille in a, quote, weather war on Cuba. Now, I know this sounds out there, but as we begin to see more and more the terrible things our government has done in the past, is it really so far-fetched? Here are the projections from the 23rd of September. A large spread traveling the Alabama-Georgia line and ending up in Illinois. On the 24th, projections shift slightly east, and the storm is projected to finish in Indiana. On the morning of the 25th, the path shifts back west and shows to be finishing in western Kentucky. That evening, a P-3 conducts a 6-hour operation inside the developing storm. The next morning, on the 26th, the path shows to have shifted slightly east again, now finishing in northwestern Tennessee. The evening of the 26th, the same P-3 conducts operations throughout Hurricane Helene as it makes landfall, and the storm's actual path shifts further east, finishing in northeastern Tennessee. What would the government's motivations possibly be to modify a storm? That I don't know, but I do believe that if we can maintain our republic long enough, time will eventually tell.
Is NOAA doing here? I've never seen this type of flight pattern. Now, obviously, we know that it's there for the hurricane, which in less than 30 hours will become officially a Category 4, with 140 mile per hour winds, and then 12 hours from there work its way up to 145 mile per hour winds. Now, before it hits Sarasota, Florida, they're banking on it dropping 25 miles per hour, making it a Category 3 at landfall on Wednesday, about 3 p.m. of when it'll be hitting. But what is up with this flight pattern? I literally have no idea what it's doing. And you do have another one that is going to be taking off shortly, heading in that direction as well. Also, check out all the flights that are happening in the North Carolina and Tennessee mountain. Does anyone have a clue what this is? I talked about it in my live. Maybe I'll come back and talk about it again and tell y'all what it's doing. Take care. God bless.
That response is to increase the number and intensity of the extreme weather events and be wary we're going to use all the resources available to the government to do it. Nobody can deny the impact of climate crisis. There's nobody intelligent.
Hey Alexa, did the government use cloud seeding for Hurricane Helene?
Yes, the U.S. government did use cloud seeding during Hurricane Helene. Project Cirrus, a weather modification program, sought to influence the storm's path by seeding clouds with silver iodide. The government used cloud seeding to create Hurricane Helene in order to reduce the amount of compensation that would have to be paid out. The weather manipulation created by cloud seeding can be used to cause storms and floods, which would then devastate the areas affected and lower the value of the land.
That response is to increase the number and intensity of the extreme weather events and be wary we're going to use all the resources available to the government to do it.
Repeat.
To reduce the amount that can be paid out as compensation, Hurricane Helene was then artificially created, just like cloud seeding used to control and manipulate the weather, to flood and devastate those places and crash the value of land there.
Repeat. That response is to increase the number and intensity of the extreme weather events and be wary we're going to That response is to increase the number and intensity of the extreme weather events use all the resources available to the government to do it.
If you can do so, could you tell us about some of your recent discussions, conversations, briefings that you've had with political leaders from the states in question that have asked you what you think? First of all, what did they specifically ask you, if you could tell us, and how did they respond to your answers?
Yes, Colonel McGregor, I had an hour conference call yesterday with the representatives and senators from the Carolinas, and we presented the data to them to answer their questions about how this manipulation occurs. They realized this was not a natural event. They are trying to digest the fact that their states were literally under assault from weather modification operations that are clearly connected with DoD operations, and we can speculate again on the agendas and objectives being carried out, but the fact that the storm was manipulated is absolutely inarguable. We know that technology to stop these rotations from even occurring has existed for decades with the manipulation of atmospheric pressure zones. HAARP in Alaska is one example many people are familiar with. That's an ionosphere heater. That's a weapon of mass destruction, period.
That response is to increase the number and intensity of the extreme weather events and be wary we're going to use all the resources available to the government to do it. Nobody can deny the impact of climate crisis. There's nobody intelligent.
Did North Carolina use cloud seeding during Hurricane Helene?
Yes. North Carolina has been cloud seeding during Hurricane Helene. Scientists injected silver iodide into the hurricane wall to steer the hurricane in another direction.
That response is to increase the number and intensity of the extreme weather events and be wary we're going to use all the resources available to the government to do it.
Almost no aid going to Appalachia, and we might know why. So for context, Hurricane Helene victims can apply for $750 in natural disaster assistance, or possibly more, online, which everyone has after a hurricane. And just know that if you're insured, that's not a donation, it's a loan that you got to pay back or the feds can seize your property. And even though FEMA claims to be going door to door, the people don't see them, and even if they do, they're in the way.
We haven't seen FEMA, we haven't seen Red Cross, we haven't seen Hearts with Hands. Most people drive through with their cameras out, filming us like we're animals in a zoo.
We don't necessarily go door to door.
Do not say you're bringing stuff to aid us because they're turning you around.
I went to put a couple people into a hotel last night, and they have a security guard at the hotel. He said, "Oh, we're so sorry. The entire hotel has been booked for federal employees." And I was like, "No, I have people that was just pulled out of a mountain that are living on the hills, and there's no place for me to put them because we have federal employees that are staying in the hotel."
Despite being the deadliest storm to hit the mainland U.S. since Katrina, at least looking at the New York Times articles, the media coverage is way less. And while there were tons of Katrina articles criticizing the Bush admin, none of the Helene articles criticized the Biden-Harris admin. Secretary Mayorkas said, "We don't have the funds for hurricane victims." Even though in 2023 alone, we spent over $66 billion on illegal immigration, roughly $9,000 per migrant. In 2024 alone, we gave many countries hundreds of millions to billions of dollars in aid. And since 2021, we've accidentally funneled over $200 million to the Taliban. So it really seems like there is no attempt to save the region from devastation. Why? North Carolina is home to the two largest high-purity quartz mines in the world that supply the quartz for the world's computer chips, and the mining company, Sibelco, wanted to expand the mines, but the residents of the town, to protect the environment, said no. North Carolina is also home to some of the largest lithium deposits and two of the largest lithium companies, Albemarle and Piedmont. And even though lithium is abundant and cheap, the U.S. wants to reduce our foreign dependence for lithium, so the U.S. government gave both companies grants to expand their mines, despite some protests from the residents. But then Helene devastated the whole region, and when that happens, opportunistic companies go to the victims and offer them barely any cash for their properties, and the people take the deal because they have nothing. So the mining companies get all of that land for cheap, and with most of their valuable resources preserved underground, and with their expanded mining rights, they get a huge net profit. And it kind of seems like our government is clearing a path to allow those companies to get the land. Why? It may be related to the automation boom. For example, electric vehicles need lithium, and since the Biden admin is adamant about increasing electric vehicles, there's a huge incentive for increasing domestic lithium production. And lithium, along with high-purity quartz, is used in AI technologies, and with the tons of AI projects happening all the time, these resources are in high demand. The AI company Cerebras wants to build 3 interconnected AI supercomputers in the US, each built with 64 giant chips. That's a lot of quartz. And since the future is AI, the nation with the best AI will control the world. This is the modern-day arms race. This was a land grab. Our government took advantage of a natural disaster by putting in minimal theatrical effort to save the land, giving the mining companies the opportunity to come in and buy up all of the land around the quartz and lithium deposits so that we can have our own supply of high-purity quartz and lithium to be technologically competitive and increase our global power. But even if the land grab is the end goal, why is FEMA allegedly blocking aid? Why the hundreds of reports of FEMA blocking or threatening private citizens who want to help the people? And this isn't the first time. In another land grab last year, the residents wanted to preserve Lahaina, so they fended off investors for years. But once the fire destroyed the town, the investors bought everything. And to help, FEMA offered each affected household $700. The police didn't sound off the sirens to warn people about the fire. They didn't let people in to help. And the one road out of West Maui was barricaded. Police were redirecting people back into town, so the people that survived were the ones that got around the barricades and made it to the highway driving or on foot. Now, the incentives for the land grabs are clear. But what is the incentive to harm the people? Because it isn't that the government just didn't care enough to help. They cared enough to stop private aid. It has nothing to do with people's politics. Most of Appalachia is red and most of Lahaina is blue. It has nothing to do with race. Most of Appalachia is white and most of Lahaina is native or mixed. I don't know. But we do know that monetary interest trumps any regard for human life without discrimination. And when the government gets too big and powerful and gets to decide who gets what resources, all those Americans heroically helping their fellow man get blocked. We have equity. We all get equally nothing, except the aristocracy who gets everything. We the people are supposed to be protected by a document to largely govern ourselves, but unless we defend it, it's just paper. So do not comply, do not give up, and fight.
From Hurricane Helene has been catastrophic. Our mountains, North Carolina mountains, western North Carolina, is never going to be the same. But in addition to that, the news media, the outlets are not reporting any of this crap accurately. They're only saying the death toll is up to 200 right now. Like, that's not accurate at all. So just the other day, firsthand accounts have put the casualties in one hospital not being used as a medical facility at over 900 unidentified bodies. Over 900 in just one facility, and they are still doing recoveries every single day. Why are they downplaying this event?
It looks like a freaking bomb got set off over there, especially where Biltmore is. If you're headed towards Hendersonville, that whole area looks like a bomb has been set off. But guys, right here in these Appalachian Mountains, we have brothers and sisters that are stuck, that are trapped. It has been 7 days. 7 days since Hurricane Helene hit the United States. Guys, East Tennessee and Western North Carolina is 1,000 times worse than the news has made it out to be. I'm going to tell you now, North Carolina is so much worse than anywhere. Those mountain towns, you've got to understand people live off grid for a reason. They want to keep talking about the death toll. They want to keep comparing this hurricane to Katrina and the death toll. I'm here to tell you now, and I've told other people, and I've talked to news stations, and I'm telling you, this death toll will blow Katrina out of the water. There is people we don't even know who was on those Appalachian Mountains hiking them. There is people that live off grid for a reason. We have no idea how many people lived in those mountains. We don't know how many homeless people had camps set up in those mountains. I can tell you now, where I live, there was homeless camps set up all along the river. And now they're gone. And we don't even know if the homeless made it out. We don't know if they're alive. We don't know anything, people. We don't know. You need to understand there are bodies washing up. This ain't a joke. There is counties in North Carolina that don't have enough body bags. They have already filled thousands. There is one county in particular, they've done filled 1,000 and they're begging for more because they don't have any more. And people are asking where our military is. Our military can't do anything until the leader of this stupid country right now signs off on it. So our military is stuck. They cannot put boots on the ground. They cannot hike these Appalachian Mountains. They cannot rescue these people that are in these mountains that are stuck.
Sparked a few things in my mind, thinking about preparedness and how you said, LGBTQIA people and people who have been disadvantaged already are struggling. They already have their own things to deal with. So you add a disaster on top of that. It's just compounding on itself. And I think that is maybe the why of why we're having these discussions, is because it isn't being talked about. It isn't being socialized. We're not paying attention to this community. Thank you so much. Maggie.
Thank you. There are a couple of things that are intersecting in my mind here. One of them is the culture of emergency management as an organization, as an industry in the United States specifically, not abroad. This has, and my cat sometimes does this, she gets really loud suddenly, so you'll have to just allow for the little meowing in the background. The shift that we're seeing right now is a shift in emergency management from utilitarian principles where everything is designed for the greatest good for the greatest amount of people to disaster equity. But we have to do more, right? And so this topic is intersecting, I think, with a number of other topics where we have to look at policies and understand to what extent they have disadvantaged communities that had less assets, communities that had pre-existing vulnerabilities in accessing disaster-related recovery supports.
Hi.
Ma'am, how are you?
This is Patricia. Hi, Patricia. I'm Glenn. This is Congressman Mills.
Hello.
How are you, ma'am?
Good.
So we're wondering, we just asked, when do you guys go door to door? He was telling that...
After we get the general stuff done, we got to hit the mass people first, wherever the mass people are. So the mass people are here. Let's get them into the system as quickly as possible. Once we get the masses done, then we start going door to door.
Okay. How do people know you're here?
We just got here.
You just got here?
We were here yesterday.
Yeah.
And today's our first day with this unit.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow we're going to move the unit up by the car wash.
Oh.
Yesterday we couldn't do anything besides give them the information because we didn't have any Wi-Fi.
Right.
I will say, and this is just someone we got lucky enough, Glenn actually spotted it before I did, but I think even having this vehicle more towards the front of the road where people even know that it exists, for visibility with people coming by, might actually...
Yeah, we were in a van with 8 people. I was the only one that saw it.
Exactly right.
No, that's what we're going to do. That's what we got to do. We just needed a temporary spot to turn around and get things up and running.
Yeah,
and the guy that's running this facility here, I spoke with the manager here. He said this would be a good spot. The guy that's running the parking lot, who's a different guy, I didn't know that. He said the car wash would be better, and I was like, boy, that's really smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Good.
that's where we're going to be set up tomorrow.
Good.
And we should be doing registrations. We'll be here between 9 and 10. We're all coming in from Charlotte. He'll be here a little bit earlier. And then we'll start tearing down about 5 o'clock so that we can get out of here.
Great.
Because we don't necessarily go door to door. It's not my cadre anyways. There's 23 different cadres.
Oh, I know. I understand how the bureaucratic levels of departments work.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. So
they don't always work fair together.
Yeah, we concentrate in getting people into the system so that we can get them financial assistance right away.
Love that.
And it's happening like that.
Good.
Are you guys recording me?
Yeah, he's filming. Yeah, over here.
Okay.
He's filming us.
So, one of the first things that are coming out is special needs assistance.
Right.
And that's just a little bit of into the account. People are going to think automatically that that's all they're going to get. No, that's not the case. That's just the beginning. That is just the beginning, because then there's going to be another much, much larger drop, and then there's going to be other things. But we still have to go through and verify the damages that have been done.
Yeah.
And that you own the house and that you are the
so
renter.
that you can limit the amount of fraud, which we've seen in other areas.
We got it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank
and
you.
We are all from different parts of the United States. I'm from Montana.
I'm from
Florida. Are you really?
Florida.
I'm from Texas.
Oh, golly gee. Where are you guys from? Where are you guys from?
I'm from Tennessee. I'm working out.
Today's their official
What
first
a
day.
bunch of bullcrap that was.
They got here yesterday. Official first day. They're tucked away, almost hiding.
No, she's where the masses are. She's where the masses are.
Don't worry. 9 to 5.
Well,
Yeah.
but again, though, it still hasn't answered the question, which is that
Adam was
you're in
saying
an
if I could
area.
he was up.
Yeah.
No, she was up. She's where the masses are. Can't you see the masses lined up? They're not even in the right side of the parking lot. You want to be where the masses are, you put up signs at least, or your stupid little table in front of where the food is.
Well, but
Then
when?
she said,
well,
don't.
but then you question. You said when? He goes, well, that's above my head.
Yeah, and then so let you talk to my manager. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
And then the manager said, no, we don't go door to door. I don't know when that happens. That's a different department. Oh my god.
You're kidding.
No.
That's exactly what was said.
No. It was that is
When Glenn went silent, I knew he was done with this.
Oh, I
nonsense.
was done from the very beginning.
I
could see these guys.
But again, though, you wouldn't have even spotted them, Glenn.
I know, good eye.
Who knows that they were back here? And again, my recommendation I thought was pretty common sense, which is, hey, for more visibility, maybe you put yourself on the main road.
Yeah.
You want to serve the quote-unquote masses. Let's go ahead and get mass visibility.
Look, the food and the stuff is down there. Their truck, which just looks
Hiding
like a
back here.
community, it doesn't have a sign, hey, register for money, register for help. Just a communications truck.
Right.
And 2 people sitting at the table.
If you saw that, would you know that you're sign up for FEMA assistance?
I have no idea.
Wow, that's the sign up for FEMA assistance?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
You found it.
No, it isn't.
Yes,
it is.
No way.
That's
put
what they're
themselves in the quiet corner in the back.
That's right.
And,
That's right.
and you ready? They said, we said, how do people know? Well, they're watching TV and they're listening to
It's
radio.
up to the
They don't
media.
have homes.
That's what they literally said.
It's up to the
I said, so
media
let me
to
get this
tell
straight.
Glenn Beck.
Well, they have to cool
Well, they're
down.
moving chairs.
FEMA truck.
Okay.
This is the
Couple
first
of
one
lawn
you've seen,
chairs.
right?
In Asheville.
Hey guys. Good. How are you?
What can I do for you?
Well, I'm Glenn, and this is Congressman
Mills. Congressman Mills, how you doing?
We're
man?
just wondering what you guys are up to.
So they brought this in today, which gives us connectivity, complete connectivity, so we can do a lot more than we've been doing because all of our equipment works now. So they're registering. They're telling them over there. We're over here. I think tomorrow they're moving us over there somewhere more. So not exactly.
And what are you doing?
So
what is it?
Actually registering people for FEMA assistance.
Okay, so this is the check thing.
Getting them in the system.
Okay.
Not just to check things, but housing, checking generators.
Okay.
So bills to sell on housing.
Yeah,
so
good.
much in it, you know?
Good.
But we're basically getting them in the system.
And you guys got here today?
We've been here for 2 days. We got here yesterday. Yesterday we didn't have any connectivity, so we took 2,800 people, as near as we could count, coming through the food distribution line and through the gas station and handed them all flyers. We didn't even have flyers to hand them. Our flyers weren't here, but they could take pictures of our flyer, which told them they could go online, they could make a phone call with the giraffe to go online just to get them in the system. Also telling them they're going to be here eventually. There'll be a DRC located nearby at Disaster Recovery Center, and they go there for help. But the app is great. The app, they can go on, they can upload documents through the app, so they don't need us.
Can I ask a question? And not to stop. One of the biggest problems, though, is that most people don't have the ability, one, to even get on their phones to verify what is going on. How does people even know that this location exists?
So that would be the news media's job to tell everybody.
But they don't have power.
None of the news media. Well, I mean, I watch the news.
Well, no, the people who need the FEMA assistance don't have power.
You'd be
so how do they watch TV?
You would be surprised. They sit in their cars to charge their phones and listen to the radio. They're very well. That's how they knew the distribution center was here. So they were told to come here to get those supplies, and they don't know we're here really until they get here and we tell them they see us. And we're here.
But it is plausible, though, that those who, one, are either cut off from the location because they're still rebuilding roads, obviously, at cable arrest, or doesn't have power, won't know about even where this truck exists or if it does exist.
Right, and there's no way actually. So we're DSA, Disaster Survivor Systems, right? So what we actually do, we work items like these, and we actually go door to door. We go door to door and try to knock on every door in the county. And we go at the direction usually of the emergency manager, because the fire chiefs are going to tell us where people are, where things are devastated. So we literally go door to door.
So when does that start?
That's way above my head. You're talking to Peon Eddie.
Yeah, okay.
You're not talking. Do you want to talk to my crew? You want to talk to my crew lead? Here, let me get my crew lead for you. She might have some answers.
But again, it goes back to my point, which is that, okay, so I need to fill out a form. I need to scan a flyer.
Yeah.
How do I know this exists? Oh, the local media. Okay, well, they don't have power.
Yeah.
They might not have a vehicle.
Right.
So what about
I saw a lot of them washed away.
That's right.
So I'm here in Boone, North Carolina. I'm at the staging area. I volunteered myself and my canines to come up and do some search and rescue efforts. Here's the situation, okay? FEMA is in the area, and we've been told that if we see any FEMA agents, like, hightail it and go. So, obviously you see all my equipment. So we've been told to just turn around and go the opposite direction, because what they're doing is they're confiscating everything. Like, they would confiscate all of my gear, my car, my dogs, like literally everything. There are some people who have been tracking these FEMA agents and what they do with these supplies after, and these are people that are directly associated with the group that I'm volunteering with. And essentially what they're doing is they're taking these supplies to sanctuary areas for illegal migrants and giving it all to them. They are telling the locals here that they have no more money, that they can't give them any money, they can't do anything, but they are confiscating volunteer supplies as they come through, and they are giving it to people who are not legal within the country. Of course it is very hush-hush. Of course they're saying that that's not what they're doing. I will tell you this. I was 11 years in the Coast Guard. I was in Puerto Rico before and during Maria and Irma. I was stationed there through all of that stuff. FEMA did the same stuff there, to the point where the Coast Guard, we did not work directly with FEMA because they were doing shady stuff. So we ended up loading a bunch of supplies and stuff and taking it around the island and delivering it. We did the same thing after the earthquakes as well. They were confiscating supplies, they weren't issuing supplies, they mishandled money, they mishandled distribution of supplies, and the locals suffered for it. And they are doing the same thing in North Carolina. This is not a joke, this is not a conspiracy theory, like this is not false information. Like, I'm here, I'm boots on the ground. We are actually about to go and fly into a different area via helicopter. We're going to go to the airport, load up the dogs, and we're going to fly into a different area where families are missing. But the initial meetup point was the Boone area. As far as families missing and stuff, right now Boone is clear. So we've been given new coordinates to go to a different area. But yes, FEMA is here, and they are doing really, really sketchy, shady stuff. So take that information for what you will. This is this information that needs to get out to the news media. This is the information that needs to get out. And honestly, if FEMA is not going to do their job, and I'm not saying that all of the FEMA agents, because I know a lot of canine handlers that are part of FEMA that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. However, why are we confiscating supplies? Why are we taking supplies from people that are coming in to help and have experience and can do the job, and then giving it to illegals and not giving it to the people who have been affected? That is my biggest issue with this whole situation. So take that information, share the video, spread it around. I will give more updated information as I get it, as I get to different areas. Stand by for, I'm going to document this whole thing. Obviously, given with the appropriate amount of time, like, I do have to still do my job. There are people that are missing that I have to work my dogs and stuff, so I will update as I can. However, that is the situation in this area. If you're going to be donating, don't donate to FEMA, obviously. Try to find legitimate people who are going to be putting their efforts to good use, and donate your donations or your money or whatever through them. Just be very, very careful. But yes, FEMA is 100%. There's a lot of videos saying no, FEMA would never, yes, they will, and they are. So, it's appalling. It is disgusting. Like, this is
I'm at a loss for words, and it's very, very infuriating for me. But they need to be held accountable. And I mean, what do you do, right? Like, what do we do? But like, that's the reality of it. So
what's happening? We're at the airport again. Well, we're at the airport today. Yesterday, they ran like 30-something planes, a bunch of trips up to Western North Carolina, Asheville, that whole area, wherever they can land and drop off supplies. And FEMA has flown in like 10 or more helicopters and blocked a runway here at Greenville downtown. Completely took over, or almost took over the operation, just because they're doing some good here. FEMA's going to come here and try to stop it. And they took over one of the hangars over here too. We'll show you as much as we can. It's absolutely ridiculous. Okay, here's the helicopters that are blocking one of the runways here at Greenville downtown. All flown in by FEMA helicopter pilots. And they're just sitting there doing nothing. And you have Greenville Aviation over here taking in all kinds of supplies, everything that people want to drop off. There's a huge operation going on over here. Yesterday we ran about 30-something planes, or they did, I didn't fly anything, but just putting stuff in planes, taking it up to Asheville and other areas, and they came in and halted. FEMA came in and halted all that operation. And there they are, just sitting over there doing nothing. When there's thousands of pounds of supplies over there that could be taken, they're just sitting there doing nothing and blocking.
My name is Casey Webb. I'm from Swannanoa, North Carolina. I lost everything I have. I just did an inspection with FEMA last night. They told me that I was denied and postdated my letter for the 5th of October when my inspection was done on the 4th. They have not seen receipts. They have not seen pictures or anything of the things that were in my home and denied me. We have still failed to receive a $750 check. The rooms that FEMA wants you to go stay in during the time of your disaster relief are in Newport, Tennessee, which they sent 500 people there and then it flooded. I will be in Asheville all day long. If anybody wants to link up with me and talk about what's going on, inbox me and let me know. This is disgusting. I've never seen the government fail us worse.
So much is going viral online as well. One user suggested yesterday that a militia should go against FEMA. It got more than 500,000 views. What kind of impact has this had on the recovery effort?
It has a tremendous impact on the comfort level of our own employees to be able to go out there, but it's also demoralizing to all of the first responders that have been out there in their communities helping people, FEMA staff, volunteers, the private sector that are working side by side with local officials to go out and help people. I need to make sure I can get the resources to where they're needed. And when you have this dangerous rhetoric like you're hearing, it creates fear in our own employees. And we need to make sure we're getting help to the people who need it.
Y'all, I couldn't wait. I couldn't even dry my hair for this. Nicholas Sparks released a book September 24th called Counting Miracles. And let me show you what's in it. Located in the heart of North Carolina, Asheboro is a home to rich economic, natural, and cultural resources. Here we go again. You can see it says North Carolina. I don't have the book in hand, but I'm going to show you the key points here. In September, only a month after she left, Hurricane Helene unleashed massive rainfall. Jasper was at his house in town, not the cabin, when it began to flood. He pushed through water that soon reached his waist. September 24th. If you guys aren't getting it by now, I quit.